And welcome into the Dynasty Brews podcast, everybody. We are here once again on a Thursday night to talk fantasy football. And as usual, I'm joined with my other friend, Justin Andrew. How's it going, my man?
Not bad. How about yourself?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. Once again, we'll start it off with a nice cheers for the fans.
No water.
And man, yeah. It's starting to get crazy out there. We're starting to get some nice little rumors coming in. You and me were talking about it. You were saying that Aaron Rodgers now wants $45 million to stay with the Packers.
I mean, to be honest, I want $46 million to stay with this podcast, but I'm willing to negotiate.
Well, we'll negotiate a trade for somebody.
Okay. I'm sure my value's not quite there. Maybe I'll have to rescind my. I guess I've lost all the leverage here.
Well, unlike Aaron Rodgers, I like you being on my podcast. I'd like Aaron Rodgers to be here too, but I have a thing against bitchy people. I don't really take it to him too well.
You gotta at this point, right? It has to be something as simple as Rodgers saw them restructuring all these contracts, and he's like, motherfucker, they're gonna try and make this work. All right, I got to find a way to blow it up. That's the only thing I can think of at this point. He does not want to be there.
Well, I know that you're not an avid Twitter follower, but I've done a little research on it. My girlfriend follows Shailene Woodley and saw that whole text tweet that he sent out, and I'm thinking to myself, this man is straight sticking a dynamite his entire life and just saying it's okay. All right, guys, have a good one. Love you, Packers. Love you, Shailene Woodley. All this shit. And I'm just thinking to myself, this guy just has to have the attention every time. Every time he speaks, he just has to have everybody's attention. Because I heard people talking about, is this his retirement? I'm like, there's no way this man's retiring right now. He's not. I mean, what is he going to go do? State Farm commercials for the rest of his career? And be considered the number 2 quarterback for the rest of it? Because if this guy wins at least one more Super Bowl, he kind of gets put into that contention for, maybe he is the greatest quarterback of all time.
No,
he's not.
If you look at Twitter, it's hands down 1 year in, best quarterback of our life is going to be Justin Fields.
Oh, yeah. The kid.
The way it goes, the prodigy.
Well, if it hasn't been a little sneak preview, guys, we are going to be talking about quarterbacks in this show. And we're going to be bringing up the top 12 quarterbacks of last year, the early ECR top 12 quarterbacks of this year. And we're just kind of going to be breaking it down, how we feel about it, who we think is worthy, who we think you guys should be targeting in drafts. Obviously, we're nobodies with a podcast, but I mean, we do a little bit of research here and there, I know Justin does a little bit more research than I do. I mean, he's been researching the Justin Fields. I haven't gotten that deep yet. I'm still on my Trey Lance argument that he's going to be a top 10 quarterback next year. But I know that Justin's over there. Yep. There's the head shake. There's the head shake.
He could be. I mean, I can't wait to talk about that one.
All right.
But yeah, no, I love nothing more than breaking down film. I feel like I've been scouting guys. My first draft I really got deep into this was Kyler Murray, and people I co-manage with, my buddy who I co-manage teams with. I feel like I've done pretty well the last couple of years. So I think I got this process pretty good. But again, no one's going to be perfect. But I did have Davis Mills top 5 last year, so I felt good about that.
Yeah, and if you go back to our early podcast, he was a big Davis Mills guy at the time, as he was a Zach Wilson guy at the time. So
still am.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, he could definitely improve, but you can say that about everybody in the class. Everybody in the class has something to do.
It hasn't been pretty, but for some reason we anoint guys who haven't played more than 2 games. Top 10
I think
assets.
I think that he's actually played 2.5 games. Thank you very much.
You're right. When you're right,
and here's some research for you. He had 18.7 fantasy points per game, and you know where that would have put him last year?
probably like in top 5 quarterbacks. Top 10.
Nope. No, I would put him at 13. Just outside of the top.
So let me ask you, let's just start off there. Like
outside the top 12.
Let's just have a debate here. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You want to do it now? Is this a good time?
Oh, I mean, this is our entire show. Yeah, let's throw a quarterback name out there that we have heard a lot of jive about, and let's just debate about it.
All right. So I want to start with Trey Lance.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to pump my own work here. I wrote last year about Trey Lance, and I like Trey Lance. I think Trey Lance is a good quarterback. However, Trey Lance didn't play football for a whole year. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
However, the biggest thing I have here is he's a runner. And when we got this whole thing going here, he only threw the ball more than 20 times, like 10% of his entire college career. So there's that aspect.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We're all super quick to point out that Jimmy G's terrible and that Trey Lance is good. But he didn't get any snaps over Jimmy G. And you can make an argument like maybe they wanted to develop him the right way, stuff like that. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that gets me, and I wrote last year, I was like, I'm not willing to pay 103 for Lance because he's a work in progress. It's a risk. My thing has always been like, if you have those top picks, you want surefire things that you can trade off to accumulate more assets if you're in a rebuild or you're looking for immediate impact, right? So at the end of the day, my argument is this. Right now, he's going like the top half of round 2 in a startup. Ahead of guys like Russell Wilson, ahead of Trevor Lawrence. And I just don't understand at that cost, you're trying to sharpshoot. That's like you trying to be the smartest guy in the room instead of just sitting back and saying, okay, listen, I think Trey Lance is good, but I know Russ has done this before. I know that Trevor Lawrence has a new offensive coach who's done good things with Carson Wentz. Even the fantasy darling Justin Fields is going above. I just don't understand it. I think we're all too quick to try and sharpshoot this position. And I feel like sometimes we just need to take a step back and say, okay, how is this going to go? Like, to me, I mean, there's rumors Tom Brady could go there next year.
Yeah, no. I don't believe that. I don't know if I believe that. I mean, trust me, I'm a Niners fan. I'd love that to happen, but I don't think I believe that at all. Just because, I mean, he's had a hell of a career, and why would he want to go back? Like, why would he's probably at this point looking at it like, fuck, yeah. I have more rings than any team in the NFL. You know what I mean? Like,
yes,
then he's got to get traded.
At the end of the day, though, man, that's where he's wanted to play. You know, do you know the story about this? Did you know that Tom Brady was supposed to be in San Francisco?
No,
it wasn't San Francisco. It was the Chargers. Do you know the story about the Chargers?
No, I don't.
So the rumor has it. Now, I'll show my Nebraska logo here. Big Nebraska fan. If I can get my shirt right.
Yeah, you gotta move it up a little bit. Yeah.
Anyways, big Nebraska fan. All right, so listen to a podcast. Can't remember who it was. I want to say it was the Peter King podcast. Mike Riley was the coach at Nebraska. Mike Riley actually coached Ryan Leaf. And in that draft, the thing about Mike Riley is he's a very good X's and O's guy. He is like the biggest yes man I've ever seen in my entire life. They made that dude fire his like defensive coordinator after they started their season 8-0 at Nebraska, and then they got just decimated with injuries. But Mike Riley was like the biggest Tom Brady fan. So he sees Tom Brady at the scouting combine, and he's like, Tom, you're my guy. We're gonna find a way to get you in this draft. And so even I think it was Tom Telesco was the GM at the time, and he assured Mike Riley, he's like, yeah, we're gonna get Tom Brady. I like his tape. I think he could do well here. Lo and behold, draft night comes, and it's like the third round, and Riley wants to take him, and it's like, no, we're gonna take this guy. And like the whole night, Riley's like, okay, we don't need Tom. We'll get him next round. He'll fall. And it's just like he was supposed to be in San Diego, and it's like I don't know how he would have done there, but I'm telling you, like I think he would have been great wherever he went. And I just think he wants to be in that area. I think he wants to play in California. And I also heard he had a falling out with the Bucs coach. where there's smoke, there's fire, especially because Bruce Arians is trying so hard to refute all this stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, here's the thing. Tom Brady did grow up in San Mateo, but if this were going to happen, it would have happened 2 seasons ago when he was originally on the market, and the 49ers didn't pull the trigger on it. And at this point, even though it would be a great option, I don't see how you go back on the plan.
Let me throw this out to you. You want to hear the dumbest trade that actually could happen?
Oh, yeah, go for it.
Jimmy Garoppolo in like a second for Tom Brady.
Well, so there's already been rumors of that, and I don't think Arians would take him because he just doesn't fit what Arians wants to do downfield. I mean, think about it. Jimmy G is not the most accurate downfield thrower. That's why they have him throwing to the slant all the time and throwing screens.
Except for I'm listening every day to Bruce Arians spice up Blaine Gabbert.
Oh, I mean, look at Kyle Trask. I think Kyle Trask got more of an arm than Jimmy G's got. I mean, he wasn't that accurate or that great of a quarterback at Florida, but I mean, I think at this point, if you were going to fit somebody better into your system, I think you would fit Kyle Trask in there. I mean, trust me, if it could happen, I would love it to happen because I think that Brady could take this roster and make it something legit, just like he'd probably do to any roster. But am I putting my whole offseason on it?
No. All I'm saying is there's a greater than 0% chance that your second round startup pick doesn't play.
Yeah.
There's multiple ways that situation pans out, right? Like, what if they try and trade for Aaron Rodgers? That's not going to happen. But I mean,
no first round capital.
Yeah.
They'd have to get.
Feel like it's just a risky proposition to get a guy in the second round. There's so many players available at that top of that second round. I don't know why we're so enamored with Trey Lance because he runs the ball. Like, not only does he have to play, like obviously when he plays, he runs the ball. He's going to score points. But when you're talking from a dynasty perspective, he has to also be good to pan out.
So here's my argument for Trey Lance, and I'm going to make it real short. I'm literally going to say one sentence. Imagine if you had Jalen Hurts. Imagine if you had the hindsight of knowing that Jalen Hurts was going to break out. Would you take him? Last season. You wouldn't have taken him.
No.
Knowing that he was going to be the QB9, was going to win you weeks, you wouldn't have taken him.
I mean, I had him everywhere. I had him everywhere in redraft. I mean, the thing with Jalen Hurts is always going to be he had a second-round draft capital. I don't think he's going to be a long-term answer. They're already talking about moving on from him this offseason. Like, it might be chatter, but like I've seen Kaepernick play. Kaepernick was like a stud early on, and then once they started, once it became legal to like just freaking smash the quarterback if he tries running the ball, you just flamed out. And I think that could happen with Trey Lance, where if they try and run him as much as he wants to run, we've already seen him get hurt twice last year.
Well, he's also built a lot bigger than I even thought he was. I think he's around like 6'4". He looks to me like, a Josh Allen build to him. He's a big guy. I mean, he's stocky. He's got a cannon for an arm. If they can really reel in his accuracy. I know at the beginning of the year he was having these like fireball problems, and by fireball I mean like he would throw heat into somebody's hands and freaking break fingers. And it seemed to be like something that he did in the Arizona game, especially. I saw it a couple times. Brandon Ayuk, probably.
Like you said, Josh Allen was the exact same way.
Yeah.
And if you remember, like his like first training camp, there was like a video of him like trying to throw to the, drop the ball up to the running back, and he like about killed one of the beat reporters. Like just threw a laser like right over, like just not even close to the running back.
Yeah, and it's like. From one, I saw that get fixed in the Houston game. For as bad as his first half was, the entire game, he was throwing it really nice. And, like, he wasn't throwing it with a sputter, like, the spiral going like that or some bullshit. He was throwing good balls out there. And one thing that I give Shanahan a lot of credit for is he made him study great quarterbacks because they were playing great quarterbacks. He was making them study Stafford. He was making them study Rodgers. He was making them study Hurts. He was making them study all these running backs that offer something different, but kind of could be unique in the style that they're creating there. Because if you're doing that much film work and emulating these guys, you kind of see the things that they do exceptional as well as the things that hurt them. So my opinion of Trey Lance is that your floor is going to be getting a Jalen Hurts last season, and your ceiling could be upwards of getting a Josh Allen Jr. or a Josh Allen Light.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he's more. I feel like I'd probably compare him more to Cam Newton than I would Josh Allen, but they're not too far apart.
I mean, like you said, Josh Allen was a mess his first 2 seasons. I mean, this is the best we've seen Josh Allen these past couple of years, and it's been phenomenal, the growth.
Now
let's not think that Josh Allen was not Cam Newton at one point himself. I mean, remember, this was a guy that at one point was all arm and goal line touchdown, running touchdowns himself. So, I mean,
let's not forget though that Josh Allen's best receiver was like, gosh, what was the dude's name? He was like a no-name wide receiver that was like a speed guy. He had no receivers his first 2 years. I mean, Trey Lance has freaking George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah, he's also only shared the field with all 3 of them, I think, twice.
Robert Foster. Robert Foster was Josh Allen's best receiver his first 2 years. You remember that name? Because I thought he was going to be a stud when Josh Allen was throwing.
Honestly, I don't remember that name. And I've played Madden, and a lot of names I remember off of Madden trades and stuff. So, yeah, no, I don't remember Robert Foster.
Oh, I remember. Some people do. I remember I traded him away in Dynasty for like a second-round pick because he like blew up at the end of his first season with Josh. And now he's currently like in the CFL or something. So, good trade by me. I'll pat myself on the back.
Yeah. Yep, getting rid of those duds before.
I'm like the king of like it's a bad thing. Like I always try and predict things before they happen. That I like right now. We'll talk about in our running back show, but I'd love to talk to DeAndre Swift in a couple of weeks when we do these running backs because I got some takes on DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, that was a guy that I was high on, and I still kind of am, and that's just because I like the build. But we will stick with quarterbacks because, like you said, we're going to have a whole running back show to annoy these people with. But anyways, I'm going to throw out a name, and you're going to tell me if you like him long-term or not. I'm going to throw this out as a question. Where do you have Justin Herbert? That is something that a lot of people have been debating where he is. A lot of people put the tiers as Mahomes and Allen, and then below that goes some variation of Herbert, Burrow, and sometimes I've heard Jackson. Sometimes I've heard other names like Rodgers. But tell me your first 2 tiers. Who lies in those, and what makes it up for you? Why are they there, and why are they separated?
For me, Mahomes is in a tier of his own, and I'm a huge Bills fan. But
wow,
I think we talked about
this. That's a hot take right there. Mahomes is in a tier of his own.
It really shouldn't be. I mean, I realize that Allen has had 2 QB1 finishes back-to-back. I don't think they want him to continue running the ball. I think they're going to upgrade that offensive line and try and run the ball with a true running back. They're still going to be passing a lot, but I just feel like Allen has resolved some of his passing woes. But I just feel like the Chiefs have a better deal with Mahomes going in their salary caps in a better spot to get players that they need. Diggs is still needing an extension. This is the last year. Next year, the Bills only have like $3 million of salary cap space, and Diggs is going to need a new deal. There's really no one outside of Diggs. You're hoping Gabe Davis takes that step, but Mahomes has Kelsey and Hill, and they have some draft picks in this. I just feel like I trust Andy Reid. They're always making moves. They got Jeremy Maclin a couple of years ago. That didn't really work out the best, but he's shown that he will take those chances on receivers, and usually they do pretty well.
What about the age factor? Sorry to interrupt. What about the age factor with that? Everybody just seems to be getting older in that offense. I mean, obviously Tyreek Hill is a speedster, But, Travis Kelce is going to be, I think, 33 this upcoming season. I think he's still got potential for another 2 years of definitely top 5. I think another year of maybe even being the top tight end. But eventually, age is going to start catching up to him, and age is going to start affecting his routes. He's going to be running slower. He's not going to be able to take as many hits.
There's not even it's not even a lock that Tyreek Hill's back there next year. They've tried negotiating deals with him, and they haven't gotten anywhere close to a deal. He wouldn't even restructure his deal last year. But like I said, Andy Reid's taking shots on guys, and he'll continue to do that. I mean, he's done all this stuff before. He did it with McNabb. McNabb never was like a bad quarterback, right? And also you got to take into the account that Reid's a little bit older than McDermott, but McDermott's a defensive guy. We're bringing in Glenn Dorsey. Is it Ken Dorsey? I can't remember. Ken Dorsey. It's Ken Dorsey.
Ken Dorsey, yeah.
Haven't really seen him take over and run an offense. He got fired in Carolina because he was the quarterback's coach there, and that last year he was there. He got fired there, was out of the league. I mean, we just don't know what's going to go on there. I believe in Josh Allen's talent, but I'm very risk averse. And I just feel like I trust Andy Reid to keep refilling that bucket, replenishing that talent pool for Mahomes. Yeah, he missed on Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but
I don't even think he missed on Clyde. But I think he did let the offense get a little stale in the middle of the season. This offense often relies on Patrick Mahomes to find the guy deep. His check down valve has always been Travis Kelce, but they've always liked to go over the top. That's why they have guys like Hardman. That's why they have guys like Demarcus Robinson. That's why they have guys like freaking Tyreek Hill, because they've always loved to go all the way downfield. They love the deep ball. And I think that in a way it's kind of gotten a little stale to a point where, defenses were starting to figure it. And, we saw in the final game against Cincinnati, Patrick Mahomes, if he's getting, terrorized by a defensive line, sometimes he doesn't make the smartest decisions. I mean, we all saw that rollback that was, that drive was supposed to be a touchdown, and ended up rolling back and losing 20 yards or something like that. Dude, just take the L. You don't have to make it a hard kick for your your kicker, at least harder than it should be.
Let me give you a scenario here. All right?
Go for it.
Tyreek Hill, if they trade him, they could save $18 million on the cap. If I'm Kansas City, okay, this is going to sound super insane, but this is just, if you're going to push all your chips in with your offense again, you want to prove that you are the king of the mountain, why not go make a play for Juju in the slot and Devontae Adams and trade away Tyreek Hill?
Yeah. I mean, that's playing extreme matchmaker and extreme GM at that point. But, I mean, if you could ever make it work, that would be a perfect combo, and just sell them, taking a little less money as far as Devontae goes, sell him on just winning championships. I was going to say you could even go after somebody like a Mike Williams. That'd be a fucking dynamic dude to have for the next couple years.
I think we talked about that with one of our guests, and I agree. I don't think he's going. I think Larky was right on. I don't think he's going anywhere. I think he's going to stay with Herbert. Now, going back to Herbert, Herbert is my QB3. Allen's QB2. They're in kind of the same tier. Both of them can run. I just don't think Herbert's been used as a runner as much as he should be. I think there's still untapped potential there. And then after those two, so those are the top three. I still think Mahomes is an elite passer, which the reason why I have him above Allen is because Allen relies on his legs a lot. And I just think Mahomes is a more stable asset for the next 10 years. Whereas with Josh Allen, you have the Cam Newton concerns of, if they continue to run him like this, is he going to take a beating and have his arm deteriorate and just look like Cam Newton does at the age of 30?
So quick note on both those. Justin Herbert ran 23 times in the red zone, which was third most among quarterbacks. And one thing that I also love is that he threw the ball the fifth most times in the red zone, which for me, Justin Herbert, this might be a hot take in some sense. He's my QB1. He's the guy that I look at and I'm like, This is a guy who's just getting better every single year. You know, there was a statistic that came out. He's the second, or no, he's the third. I'm sorry. Dan Marino and Patrick Mahomes were the first and second guy to achieve 5,000 yards in either his first two seasons. So that was, for me, I was like, wow. You know, this guy keeps on improving. You know, he had 41 touchdowns total between his 3 rushing and his 38 passing last year. He just has all the arm mechanics for me. He's got, and the kicker for me is he's got everything that he would need around him. I mean, he's got the best receiving running back in Austin Eckler. He's got 2 good threats in Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. And now that they've started using Mike Williams as more they're starting to use his route tree a lot more, which is I called Mike Williams a bust early last year, like before the season started. And I said it was all because they didn't open up his route tree and that they were just using him as a deep ball threat. He was going to only have like his routine 49 receptions, and he was going to have to pull out 1,000 yards or 10 touchdowns. Totally missed on it. Will totally call myself out and say I missed on it. But he went to shop last year, and it was because they brought his ADOT down by at least 5 yards, which to me, super impressive. I like the Lombardi system as far as it's going right now.
I think they're going to make upgrades on that offensive line too. So I think he's going to have more time to pass.
Yeah. Slater was a hell of a pickup in the draft.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm with you. I have him as 3. I could shuffle those any way I wanted to, really. I know that everyone is in on Allen. Let's not forget, Allen's a little inflated. Like, he was QB1, which is great. But then they saw him play in that Chiefs game. Can I just point out, like, as a Bills fan, he, like, literally injured, like, 4 of their quarterbacks in that game. So, like, that comeback effort was awesome. I loved watching him do his thing. But, like, that secondary was just, like, decimated because he was literally trucking dudes the whole game. So, yeah, those are my top 3. And then I got Dak up there. I've been a little low on Dak, but I got to give the dude his props. Like, he's continued to do it. I was worried about the ankle last year, so I traded him away for like 3 2s, and it ended up being 3 2s and Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love. So
hold on real quick, just to stop you real quick. I'm going to throw this up here, and when it loads up, it's just how these guys finished in 2021 and where they're looking right now with early ECR rankings. And I'm just gonna say this. I want us to dissect it and really kind of rearrange it the way we see it. So it just gives a visual to all of the people watching. I want to ask you, who do you see on this list that doesn't belong in the early part of it, the early ECR? Who do you think in that top 12? So these are the QB ones. These are, if you're in a 12-team league, these are the first 12 quarterbacks that, you know, Fantasy Pros says will be taken off due to their early ECR rankings.
Dynasty? This is Dynasty, right?
Yes.
I mean,
who do you think? Who do you think is going to take? What's up?
Jalen Hurts has got to come off there.
All right. I 100% agree with that one. I don't think Jalen Hurts is the future there.
Yeah.
Although I did hear that, I think it was Howie. Was it Howie Roseman? I think Howie Roseman did say that he was going to give Jalen Hurts 2022. So he will have 2022. But
I mean, that's kind of like when the CEO of a company says we're not for sale. It's kind of like the whole Odell thing. We didn't sign Odell to trade Odell, right? But here we are.
Fair enough.
That's not worth the paper it's printed on. So
fair enough. My question to you though is do you see anybody in the draft that's worthy for them? I mean, I don't think that they're going to go out, and I don't see them going out and grabbing a Rodgers or, you know, going out and trying to get somebody like a Deshaun Watson. Do you see anybody in the draft that they could grab?
I the problem with the Eagles is they had a deal done to get Deshaun Watson last year, by what I've read. Watson just doesn't want to go there.
Well, fair enough to him. I think that's his best route to a playoff game, but playoffs don't always mean Super Bowls. It's just the first step.
So we're talking rookies. You're talking rookies. Are you saying who would go to Philadelphia?
Yeah, I'm saying like if there was an option right now of getting a rookie quarterback, which there will be when the Eagles come up, who do you think they would take in order to maybe groom behind Jalen Hurts for like 2023?
Well, I can tell you it wouldn't be. It wouldn't be Malik Willis because Malik Willis is too similar of a skill set. Malik Willis has the stronger arm, so it wouldn't be him. They're not going to be able to get some of these elite prospects based on where they're at, though, either. I think their best bet, they have all these picks. I don't think they'd be getting a rookie. I think that they're going to really try and get a Russell Wilson or a Jimmy Garoppolo. Those are the two guys I could see them going after. And I don't even know if Jimmy G's an upgrade over Jalen Hurts. And I like Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean, I think he's fine. I think Jimmy Garoppolo is like Alex Smith 2.0. I get a lot of heat for that because they're not exactly the same. But I'm talking about in terms of like mid-range quarterbacks that should be starters but are overvalued early in their career. And you kind of realize they're kind of a stable asset that can get you QB2 points each week.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. They're guys that can get it done as far as the W's and the L's, but unfortunately, I would not put my Super Bowl winning team in control or air at the quarterback. I wouldn't put Jimmy Garoppolo or Alex Smith because neither one of them has a track record of getting it done in the playoffs. And I'm not just saying wins and losses. I'm saying touchdowns and interceptions. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think that Jalen Hurts can come off. I don't think Deshaun Watson should be on anybody's list until he gets cleared of all this. I know that they're at this point, I think 15 of his civil suits aren't sticking right now, but it doesn't mean that the others aren't going to, and it doesn't mean that he's not going to face discipline from the league.
Yeah,
so
Florio wrote today that he has on the record multiple, not two, but multiple teams are today willing to trade for Watson. I mean, I've been buying low on Watson for a while, not because I think he's a great human. I just think if Tyreek Hill can get away with beating his kid, Deshaun Watson going down the Robert Kraft type of life is probably not going to be punished that bad.
Well,
what was Robert Kraft's punishment? What did he give up? Like they didn't pay like a fine.
His punishment was gonorrhea. No.
We don't even talk. No one, the thing is that dude just gets away. Like no one even talks about that. Like, no one even remembers that. Kind of like what Jim Irsay was like drinking and driving, and that kind of is just no longer a thing. But it happens to Henry Ruggs, and he's like the worst person in the world. Listen, I don't support that stuff. I'm just saying it's like we bash these players, but we never hold the teams accountable either.
No, I mean, here's the thing. There's obviously two different cases of being blackballed out of the league. You can either be Ray Rice or you can be, Kareem Hunt. You can either get a 4-game suspension and be back in the league the next game, or you can get a 4-game suspension and nobody will ever call you again.
Yep.
So obviously there's two different standards in the league. I think it all comes down to, how valuable people think you'll be on their teams, obviously.
I'm just going to tell you this, like, I'm overweight on Deshaun Watson. Okay.
I mean,
he was so cheap last year. I love buying uncertainty on like assets that I know that teams are like, he's good and he's going to get a second chance. Look at Michael Vick. Michael Vick ran like a dogfighting operation and was given a second chance.
Yeah.
And I don't. That's just kind of where I'm at on the whole thing.
But that's another thing where I say talent kind of outweighed the risk of obviously the negative publicity is what I'm saying. The negative publicity risk for the team. which obviously the Eagles got early on, but as the story grew, Michael Vick kind of became folklore again. But like I said, as far as Deshaun Watson goes, I love picking him up for cheap. I agree with you 1,000%. If you can get him for some cheap, deal, couple picks, maybe like a third-round pick, if you're lucky, that would be amazing. I don't think you're going to do it with the offseason buzz now, but if you could do that earlier, like last season, like you were saying, that's amazing. I'm just saying
I give up a single first for him, which I'm happy with.
Yeah, see, I don't know if I would go single first with uncertainty. I would go second with uncertainty, but a single first, I mean, it's a bold move. I gave up a first for Rodgers last year, but I already kind of knew that Rodgers wasn't going to retire. It wasn't, he was getting massaged by a million different people and, doing some stuff. It was him just, kind of playing the bitching game, which I was more than certain he was going to come back. He just didn't want to go to OTAs and he didn't want to go to training camp. But
I'll tell you this: I would be comfortable. This is where we differ completely. I'd give up to 2 firsts.
Wow. All right.
We're talking about this dude sitting at 11 here. We're talking about a dude that was top 4 with Bill O'Brien and literally nothing else around him.
Yeah.
And you send that dude to Carolina. You send that dude like anywhere. Like, okay. Let's say, where do you think he'd get traded to? What if he goes to Pittsburgh? That dude's top 3.
Yeah, I mean, he could end up in Pittsburgh. Obviously, a good landing spot would be the Eagles because they could actually pay out what is needed. Miami's obviously out, especially if the new coach McDaniel likes Tua. They fought a whole war with Brian Flores over that. I'm not convinced that they're out on him. I mean, why fire your head coach for wanting to do that? Then it doesn't make sense.
I think it was an emotional response. Again, this is just me talking. I have no proof of this.
Yeah, exactly. Of course.
The way I read people is, I think it was an emotional response. I think they were pissed because they want him to lose these games for Joe Burrow, and then Joe Burrow took a team that had won 1 game 2 years prior to the playoffs, and they did not make the playoffs. And I think that just pissed off Stephen Ross, which is, by the way, the same exact situation going on in Indianapolis. Like, Carson Wentz had the best touchdown interception ratio in the league. I'm not sitting here saying Carson Wentz is a stud, but that dude's a starter. There's no way you can mention that dude should not be starting.
Oh yeah, I mean, you can't just give up on him after one shitty season. I mean, he wasn't even a shitty season on his part.
It was a shitty.
He did pretty well.
Like shitty 2 games, like the last 2 games. Which, by the way, he had like COVID the first time. Like the second to last game, he magically came off the COVID list after like 3 days.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, I got COVID and I was miserable. I know it's different for everyone, but I'm just saying,
No, 100%. All right, we're going to take a quick ad break from our guys at Manscaped real quick, and then after that, we're going to try and get back on track with these QBs.
Exciting news just came across from our friends at Manscaped. They just launched their 4th generation performance package. This ultimate package includes the Lawnmower 4.0. You heard that right, the 4.0. Manscaped, the leaders in male grooming, have done it again to make your grooming game next level. Join the 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with the new Performance Package 4.0 by going to manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping with the promo code BILLIAFANTASY. The Performance Package 4.0 by Manscaped has arrived, and oh man, it was worth the wait. Inside this package, you'll find our Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, Performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold all your goodies. Get 20% off and free shipping with the promo code BILLIAFANTASY at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with the promo code BILLIAFANTASY at manscaped.com. Your balls have been through enough this past year, so treat them with the best tools for the job from Manscaped.
You're listening to the MD's Fantasy Football Show.
All right. Well, speaking of smooth, our next guy on the list is Joe Burrow,
Yeah,
at number
him out.
5. How are you feeling about Joe Burrow?
Overvalued, definitely.
I can
I
see
mean,
that.
listen, he's good. I don't know if I can justify taking him QB5. I would take Lamar over him in a heartbeat.
Fine.
I didn't even realize Rodgers was 7 from a startup perspective.
Well, you got to think of Rodgers falls into the category of they're hoping for another 3 years out of him, I would think. But
Well, at this point, if he comes back to the Packers, he has to play 4 years, and not until that 4th year. Maybe the 4th year is when he would probably leave, because you figure he plays this year, then he gets 2 years of the tag, and then he could leave.
yeah, and I mean, I think he's probably done there because he's probably ran out of people to run into the ground making excuses for why he can't perform in the playoffs.
In 4 years, I'm going to be doing this podcast with you, and you're going to be talking about how excited you are to have Aaron Rodgers take over for the failed project of Trey Lance.
Hey, you know what? If it won me a Super Bowl, I guess I would be a little bit happy. Oh, man. But you know what? I think that Joe Burrow has a bright future ahead of him. I think that you're absolutely right, though. I don't know if I would take him quite over Lamar. I think he's got that Aaron Rodgers, Dak Prescott, Matt Stafford feel to him. I think that's his tier right now.
Why is Dak at 8?
I mean, Dak's at 8 because he didn't really have that impressive of a season.
He did until that Patriots game. He got hurt, dude. There's no way. I'm not convinced of anything else. After that Patriots game, he had that injury. He missed the following week, and he just tried battling back. Dak's not healthy. He'll be fine. And you're talking to a guy that has typically been out on Dak. I'm in now. At QB 8, I'm back in.
All right. Are you worried at all that are you worried at all about the movement that's going to be going on there? I mean, they're probably going to sell Cooper down the line to try and get one of their top guys, either Schultz or Gallup, back. I mean, I would think that ideally they could possibly get Gallup back on a cheap deal with his ACL tear, but I don't think Dalton Schultz is going to come cheap after his breakout season.
Even if Dak has a bad year this year, I'm cool with it. If Sean Payton can make who's that guy's name from BYU? If he can make Taysom Hill, I can only imagine what he's going to do with a real quarterback. Sean Payton's going to Dallas next year.
Whoa! Here we go. Hot take on the board. Mike McCarthy's loses his job to Sean Payton.
Is that a hot take? Is that a hot take, man? I'm just saying. Mike McCarthy doesn't make. If Mike McCarthy does not win a playoff game, there's no way he keeps his job next year.
Yeah, no, I could agree with that one. It would be funny to see Sean Payton with a star on his visor on his little son.
I think Cowboys fans have been waiting like 6 years for that, to be quite honest.
Yeah, I mean he would definitely love the roster that he was given. If you get Dak, you can get. I'm pretty sure they're going to bring Schultz back and let Gallup walk. You know, you can get CeeDee Lamb. You know, maybe Amari Cooper takes a pay cut and they can free up some money to keep Cedric Wilson there too. Oh man, that is a lightning roster. And then, like you said, it's a roster that needs to win because at this point they're just wasting all that talent. If they keep on, you know, they're in the NFC East, so they're pretty much guaranteed from day one, as long as Dak stays up, that they're going to be in the playoffs. And
all right,
they need to show up. No, you're good.
I have a question for you now. Let's play a little game
go
here.
for it.
We each get one player here.
All right.
One player that is not on either of these lists that you expect to finish top 12.
I expect to finish top 12. Okay. Well, you know, I'm just going to stick with my homer pick. I'm going to stick with my homer pick and say Trey Lance because I already called him for top 10.
But how's he not on the early? I figured he would have been over there on the right. It's crazy.
13.
Man, I must be. All right. Yeah, you stick with Trey Lance. That's fine. It's tough not to go Zach Wilson because I think they're going to build the offense around him. I think the best is yet to come for him. I'm going to go with my boy Davis Mills.
Whoa.
Yep.
Whoa. Woo.
I think he's going to finish 12 to 15. So I think he could finish right where Russ is. Listen, you're talking, it's going to be tough to get inside that top 12 with all the names over there, right? Especially because Davis Mills is not a running quarterback. However, you got Cooks. This is the draft to get wide receivers. I don't know if they're going to be able to. I think they're going to get. I think they could sign a Melvin Gordon or something like that because this is the year to get a running back. I think they're going to draft 1 or 2 receivers in this draft. I think they have the tight end solved with Brevin Jordan, and then you go and then later on in the draft you just attack that offensive line. This offense can be rebuilt overnight. I believe in the talent of Davis Mills. Like he's way too cheap because of the uncertainty. Like I would feel comfortable taking Davis Mills as high as QB 16 or 17.
This is another team that's got to figure out their cap issues. They spent way too much money on what they thought were key positions, and it's kind of led them to a point where I think it's like second highest paid player doesn't even step on the field for them. Laramie Tunsil is, I think, their highest paid player at this point, their left tackle. I mean, he's good, but is he worth all that money good? I don't know. I honestly am not that huge on him. But
yeah, I've never been huge on him, but I just the receiver is kind of the easiest thing. If you look at the Steelers model, I mean, I feel like they can get receivers in this draft. They're in a great position to get Treylon Burks, especially if they can take any receiver they want at 3. And then they're going to get a haul for Watson. I don't care what people say. They're going to get a couple firsts. If they take 2 receivers in the first round, the situation you've run into, my research, I believe in the last 3 years, teams with 2 first-round picks have taken a running back, which is funny to me, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they'll take a running back. I mean, they might take somebody in the second round. Hopefully, that's where they take somebody.
I didn't think the Jaguars would take a running back last year. I mean, shit, when you're running Rex Burkhead, I mean,
no one fucking knew what was going to go on with the Urban Meyer trials. That guy spun us all the way around, and it only took about 10 games to figure out that this was the biggest roller coaster of the season was just going through Urban Meyer's head. But
more question.
Yeah, go for it. Shoot.
All right. Which of these 2022 early QBs, if you had to take a guess, I'm gonna cross off Watson. All right, I'll keep Watson on there.
Yeah, keep going there.
We're sitting here a year from now.
Yeah.
Who falls off this list?
Oh, who falls off this list?
Yeah, I'll take Russell
Wilson
because of his age.
Russell Wilson.
Really?
Yeah. I haven't been high on Russell Wilson for about 2 years now. I think that whenever Russ cooks, it's kind of a double-edged sword. I mean, he can really throw it, but at the same time, when he really does throw it a lot, he gets picked off a lot. I think his accuracy goes down the more he throws. At this point, I'm surprised he didn't lose his entire team last year. But at this point, they really gotta pick it up. They've got a lot of decisions to make. They've got to get Dwayne Brown back in the building. Rashad Penny, I think, has to be back, but they've got to focus. I mean, let's face it, Chris Carson, is he really coming back from that neck injury? It didn't seem like it. I mean,
I'll still, based on his cost, though, I'll take the bet on that, though.
Yeah, I mean,
that's a guy. If you're giving up like a second or third round pick for a dude that can get a bunch of carries, don't forget he tried to come back like towards the end of the season. So
he's a good 0 RB target. If you're stocking up on receivers and you're like, oh shit, there's Chris Carson, yeah, go for it. But at this point, I don't think he's going to be the workload guy. I mean, I think they're going to try and split it evenly. And if they bring back Penny's going to be the guy situated in there. And they got to figure out this offensive line because Russ was scrambling around a lot and he wasn't doing his normal scrambling. Like he wasn't doing his normal peeling out. He was literally getting contained. And I said it on earlier podcasts. I love that the 49ers were able to get to him. And I think that was because Nick Bosa, instead of running right through the left tackle or the right tackle, wherever he was lined up, he set more of an edge and it kind of trapped him. So I think that, you know, at this point, Russ is kind of getting up there in age. Whether it was his injury or not, his deep ball did not look that great last year.
I think that was So I actually disagree with you. I think Russ is phenomenal. He's I'd love to get him this offseason. Two guys that I think I could easily see things going south.
Well, it's two guys.
Poor Matthew Stafford. If he loses Sean McVay after one season to the booth, that could get ugly.
McVay's not going anywhere.
He might not, but I follow Mike Florio all the time. Florio and Sims get a lot of heat, but Sims is good with his quarterback stuff, and Florio's got really good scoops. He gets a little annoying sometimes when he goes off track on stuff, but his content's pretty good. I mean, he might get paid $20. He might get offered $20 million to go do ESPN Monday Night or Fox stuff. It could happen with Aikman maybe. I don't know. So that could happen. And so these are two could scenarios. Like, Rodgers could retire. I'm not going to put him on there. I'm going to remove him. But Kyler Murray, I like a lot. I just worry about him going to play baseball, especially with already the frustrations that are mounting. He seems like a dude, like he's kind of like Rodgers. He's kind of a diva. Like he literally wants all the glory when things are going well. And the second things go wrong, he does not want to shoulder any blame. And that's not how you get buy-in. That's like it's like the opposite of Tom Brady.
Yeah, exactly. They're the guys on the sideline. I always said this about Rodgers. You can already tell when he's like out of the game. People say like, "Oh, that's just his mentality when he hangs his head." I'm like, "Nah, man, that's not his mentality. That's a man who's been beaten. That's a man who's been defeated before and just knows the feeling, knows when he's gonna lose." Like, you don't see that with Brady. When Brady somebody scores on Brady and Brady has to take that last drive, like Brady's up and ready to go. He fucking knows what he's got to do. His head is always high. Like he is getting ready with Mike Evans on the sideline saying, "Hey, it's coming down to you and me, man." Like, fuck Antonio Brown. But you know what I'm saying? Like there are definitely guys that carry around different mentalities, and it's hard to find. It's going to be hard to find another Brady, but like you said, like Kyler and Aaron Rodgers, they're kind of cut from the same mold. Where if they're losing, they're hanging their head, and they're not thinking about they're thinking about the excuses they're going to make at the press conference for what happened, rather than, trying to be the hero and trying to go get the glory that they think they're entitled to. So, I mean, I think Kyler's that's an interesting pick. I don't think he's going to fall off out of the top 12. I don't think he's worthy of the number 4 spot. I think the Lamar is much better in that spot. I think that if you switch those two, you'd probably have a more accurate depiction of what I think the early QBs should be.
To me, I think early QBs, I've been seeing Lance going like top 7.
Yeah.
Rodgers is. I don't even see Rodgers going. Rodgers is late, especially with all the rumors and stuff.
Yeah.
I think Rodgers is one of the best values this year.
Well, it's that old guy value, right? Like it's just like Tom Brady when people were getting Brady at quarterback like 15 or something like that. You're like thinking to yourself, whenever this engine stops, it's going to be worth it because you're going to have a fantasy championship, because instead of going out and fucking picking,
Trey Lance.
I agree with you. I don't think Trey Lance should be up there as like a top 10 drafted quarterback right now. I think he'll end as a top 10 quarterback.
Yeah, he definitely could. He's got the talent.
Because I saw guys that were picked like after him. I saw Lamar Jackson get picked after him in a draft. I was like, what is going on? Like it's getting even crazier than I thought it was going to get.
Everyone's got to plant their flags. Everyone's got to be right. They're like, I drafted him at 108. It's like last year people taking Trevor Lawrence at 112. I was like, guys, I wrote over the Dynasty Nerds. I was like, guys, like, never has a rookie gone 101 with a rookie head coach and done well. Like, it's never happened. So we're just assuming that Trevor Lawrence is going to be, I don't know. How do you approach? We'll end it with this. I know we were talking quarterbacks, but let's talk about one thing here. When you have the rookie 101, are you going for the best long-term prospect, or are you trying to take the safest asset that you think can, get you points year one?
Oh, I always go with whoever I think is going to have the biggest effect on my roster. As far as if you're talking about Dynasty, I'm always looking for the guy who's going to have the biggest effect on my roster, period. Like if I'm in debt, so a lot of my rosters are built the same way. It's strong RBs and kind of ladder round wide receivers. So I look at this year and I'm like, all right, so I want to get somebody like a Treylon Burks, a Garrett Wilson. I want to get someone like a Jameson Williams. Even though he's going to be injured or he's going to be coming back from an injury, I look at him and I'm like, God damn, would I be taking Tyreek Hill if he was right in front of me? Yeah, of course I would. I mean, I know it's not a direct comparison to him, but you get what I'm saying. Like, if I have the chance to get the biggest, like, boom player there in the draft, I'm going to go for him at the 101. And that's just how I, like, function with that. I'm not about the Breece Hall life or anything like that. I mean, I think that he's going to be a good player, but this year is definitely going to be all about the wide receivers for me. I think that, but I'm getting off track here. What do you go with?
I always go with the way I approach this game is I look at value. So I look at things such as the thing I look at, I had Burrow as my QB2 versus Justin Herbert. And so I intentionally traded down to get Justin Herbert because I knew I could get more picks. But I also felt like Herbert was the better pick. So I traded down to the 109. I got 2 firsts that year. Okay. Last offseason, I was able to unload Herbert for 2 1s, a 2, and Jerry Jeudy. So I just keep accumulating these picks. I try and take what I think is the best player that's going to give me impact year one. And then I keep accumulating picks until I built up enough depth. And then that's when I go your way, which is the best outlook, because I've already built up my depth. Now I want the best players.
No, that's fair enough. Yeah, I like that. I just wish I could get somebody to do the types of things that you have to do. Like if you told me like moving back from 101 to like 104 or something like 105 to get 2 first-round picks out of that, I'm like,
well,
nobody in my league buys that shit.
I traded down to 109, which was risky at the time. If you ask my buddy, one time, the best trade I've ever done in my Dynasty career is I traded in Superflex. Matt Ryan was QB1, and I traded away Matt Ryan for 2 firsts in Ryan Tannehill before he made his first start in Tennessee. He was starting that week, and I was like, this is a buy low. I think this is going to work. And, those first-round picks turned out to be, I think, Michael Pittman and Joe Burrow. Or not Joe Burrow, but Justin Herbert.
Justin Herbert. Not bad haul. All right, Justin. Well, this brings a wrap to our quarterback conundrums episode. What are you up to this week, buddy?
Got some stuff brewing over there. Dynasty brewing over here at the Dynasty Nerds. Kind of gonna keep it under wraps, but hopefully you'll see a lot more of me throughout the off season, giving some great news for the AFC South. Providing some coverage there, so looking forward to it. But keep an eye out for the Dynasty Nerds. They got something cool brewing over there.
Yep. And so excellent, man. Freaking Dynasty Nerds is where it's at. We're both part of the nerd herd. But as usual, you can catch Justin at the Dynasty Mad, and you can catch me at Semtex Mex 93. Next week, we're coming at you with a running back show. It's good. It's going to be a good one, guys. We're going to bring on another guest. As usual, guys, stay frosty. Have a good one.
Cheers, buddy.
Yep. Cheers.